Hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Nurul Zafira Fidiza binti Buang and my matric number H20A1706. Today I will share my opinion about the topic I choose is volunteer tourism. The first point is what do you agree with the content and what you disagree with the content. For my opinion, the video about the volunteer tourism that I agree with their content are it seems being a regular tourist traveling and discovering the world is not enough anymore. More and more young people now decide to help local communities during their trip by doing construction work, teaching English or working in orphanage, to name only a few options. Next, volunteer tourism can create such a bond with children so that the bond feels so special and unique because they're always together with the children when doing the activities. Also, it's can raising awareness about the dangers of poorly arranged volunteer tourism trips, that we will realize that many countries that suffer from poverty can help them in terms of giving food, drink, finance, education, and others. After that, volunteer tourism also can build up our skills or experience and learn somehow. During their work, they do also can learn more about real life, culture, and knowledge. Volunteering is not just helping people, but also how we connect with the local people, environment, culture, experience, and also feel like we want to get out of normality to speak new people. The video about the volunteer tourism that I disagree with their content are volunteer tourism can make a disturbing local economies because it can disturbing the growth and development of children who get emotionally attached to the volunteer because sometimes there are some children who do not like to socialize and like to be alone because they prefer to hide their problems rather than express them in public. Next, when have different volunteer coming in on 2 week cycle is kind of disruptive for the students or children because they don't know how much they learn because in a short time there are many things that need to be taught, so the time for the volunteerism trip is too short. Also, taking jobs away from local people because the volunteer will replace all the work done by the local people, thereby disrupting the work process of the local people. The next point is why do you think the problem is happening in the first place? In my opinion, some volunteers they don't have any skills or experience to help the local people. This will make the volunteering process difficult where they lack or do not have sufficient knowledge, skills, and experience in helping local residents. For example, in teaching local children, there are some volunteers who have no skills in imparting knowledge and lack skills in communicating with children. It is very difficult because a volunteer needs extensive skills and knowledge in helping them so that the local people in the country will be more confident and believe in what we help. After that, there are some volunteers who feel that this volunteer tourism trip is not the same as what they paid off. For example, the trip is for 2 weeks with a fee of 1,000, and when they arrive at the place, all the food and drinks, accommodation, and other services they get are not the same with what amount they paid. The third point is what are the implications of the issue to the community, destination, or general public. In my opinion, in terms of the community of the volunteer tourism, sending the volunteer 18 years old who are unskilled and unqualified in to host a community are potentially putting a burden on that community because in this age they're still young and lacks of knowledge in volunteering. This volunteering organization needs to plan carefully in choosing a good volunteer to follow this volunteer tourism program. Next, if the community meeting more and more volunteers from wealthier countries could result in local people feeling inferior and frustrated because inferiority feeling can appear from locals to the volunteers due to power or knowledge inequalities between volunteers and hosts. In addition, if many volunteers visit needy communities at the same time, this might raise problems related to tourism and infrastructure development for some countries that might not have sufficient food and resources because the volunteers who come to a certain place quite a lot from there, the community in that place will feel anxious because they worry if the food and drink needs are not able to cover for the residents and the volunteers. The next point is the advice to the source of the problem if it's human-related, how the issues could have been prevented, whether through more effective planning or more effective management strategies. In my opinion, the organization of volunteerism must have a good management strategies, which is they must plan to take a volunteers who has a lot of skills, experience, and extensive knowledge. For example, the volunteers it can be done or give focus to the professional workers such as doctor, nurse, or something like that to ensure that they can carry out their duties properly. Next, examine the requirements when it comes to volunteering with children, such as teaching at a community center or helping out with after-school activities. The volunteers must to try imagine a similar situation in their own country that their own school allow any person to teach, interact, or be alone with children. That maybe it's unlikely. And after that, plan the effective strategies to seek projects with sustainable and lasting effects because many volunteers participate in projects that may not actually support the community needs, and this can often be left unfinished after volunteer leave. They should seek the project that are run and managed by the local community as part of continuous and sustainable work with a proper transfer of knowledge to the community. This will ensure that their contribution will have a lasting effect long after they are gone. For example, build water supply facilities in those areas that are difficult to get water supply so that they can use the facilities in continuing their daily life. Lastly, what do you think the benefits from resolving the problem? In my opinions, the benefits from resolving the problems can make this volunteer program can run smoothly because this organization has made careful planning in terms of programs or activities that will be carried out throughout the day, the scheduling of the volunteer daily activities and others. With strategic and good planning can help to launch volunteering activities smoothly because with a schedule can know what the next of activities and at the same time can use the available time by doing beneficial activities together with local community. Furthermore, all the knowledge, help or contribution that the volunteers have given to the community of this place will lighten all their burdens and can provide new knowledge, especially children who are still in school to further expand their knowledge about the worlds of learning. Therefore, with the knowledge they learn during volunteer tourism program, they will practice in their school environment as well as in their daily life.